Então, comentando jogos clássicos, no especial do Pro Tour 25 anos, o Magic, que foi há 4 anos atrás. A gente tá na 11ª rodada, são 14 no total, então a gente já tá chegando ali no final. E a gente tem, né, só nas cabeças jogando. Então, temos o trio Josh Utter-Leyton, Ben Stark e Martin Juza versus Wu, Ben Hu e Gregory Orange. Lembrando que todas as partidas desse Pro Tour vão estar no comentando jogos clássicos. Tá saindo ali uma certinho por dia para você acompanhar. Tá lembrando, esse Pro Tour ele é trios. Cada jogador joga um formato diferente. Um joga Standard, outro joga Legacy, outro joga Modern. Eles enfrentam os adversários dessa maneira em melhor de 3. A equipe que vencer 2 partidas primeiro leva. Então a gente tá aqui com o time do Josh Utter-Leyton 9-1 versus o Hu e o Orange 8-1 essa partida. A gente acabou de ver eles vencendo o trio com 2 brasileiros e um português, né, do Márcio Carvalho, Thiago Saporito e Carlos Romão. Vamos ver como é que vai ser aqui. A gente tá na partida do Legacy, né, que é... A gente tem o B Death Shadow versus Defend Texas, KCI versus Hollow One e RB Agro versus o W Contour.
So he did have the ability to daze the Mother Runes, but it looks like he's got a Snuff Out in his hand too. And I imagine very likely that he's going to use the removal spell, before the Mother Runes is active and can protect itself from, one of Josh's removal effects.
That's right. That window is...
Esse Death Shadow foi muito bem nesse turno. Depois o deck caiu e tal. Mas era um deck bem legal, esse B Death Shadow no menino legadão.
She's basically purely a defensive creature. She will not be applying pressure to Josh's life total directly.
Yeah, very rarely does the Mother Runes actually get to attack, unless, you have an Umizawa GT in play and have no other creatures on the battlefield. But
Ouch.
A very nice addition, to this deck. This is a deck that's looking to lower its...
Tirando fast, então aquela coisa, né? A gente tem Shockland, a gente tem várias perdas de vida desse deck do Utter-Leyton, né? Porque Death Shadow. Então ele precisa que a vida caia. Não é, meu Deus, o cara foi jogar o Pro Tour e não tem as duais. Tem a dual também no deck, mas também tem as Shocklands importantíssimas aí pra coisa dar certo. E dá-lhe Delver. O faz uma Talia, que é uma carta bem chata pro jogo do Utter-Leyton, tanto que Daisy.
As the Death and Tax player against these decks with a bunch of
Ver como vai ficar o Delver aqui.
Cavern of Souls,
E flipou.
to sneak in that Ether Vial on turn 1, but because Wu doesn't have that and because he was on a mulligan, this is going to be a very, very difficult game to win.
Yeah, he's had his hands stripped bare here as well. He's got nothing
3 de
left.
dano, vai 17.
There's also a Thought Seize here for Josh. He revealed that to
Vai abrir com o Brainstorm, tentar achar alguma coisa. Death Shadow que seria muito bom.
Paul, he was deciding which card to pick up with his daze.
Aparentemente tem um na mão do Josh Utter-Leyton. Mas seria muito bom. E aí, bola, meu irmão? Por sinal, o Orem me mandou que existe uma versão heterotop sua, que o cara entrou e o nick dele era Boa Tarde Parça. Achei poético.
To basically use it as a pump spell to do the final 2 points of damage.
Pretty cool. In the meantime, Josh, things looking really good for him. He's able to start attacking in the air. Alan has no...
Tá limpando ali, vamos ver se ele faz um Death Shadow ou ele pode fazer o Tuxize. Fazer o Tuxize, tem o Street Wraith. Mas tem que achar alguma coisa ali pra, né, fazer um clock legal, que esse 3 de dano aí tá meio murcho. Daisy é uma boa carta. Levou um Recruiter off the guard e limpa a mão do Wu. A Sport Richada dá pra pelo menos achar um pouco o jogo do Josh Utter-Leyton.
nothing there for Wu. He's going to activate his Rishadan port on
E tome.
denying Utter-Leyton one of his mana sources, but boom, 3 more damage in the air.
Yeah, and Josh Utter-Leyton drew another blue spell.
Que isso, moleque.
Copy of Force of Will. So now Josh Utter-Leyton has
Agora tem como taxar os dois. Tipo, não desenvolve o game 1, não desenvolve o do outro. Ninguém vai pra frente. Toma 3.
Yeah, this one's really starting to slip away now from Wu, especially given that he can't seem to draw anything of relevancy. He keeps finding more lands, and even though they are denying Josh his mana, he's now porting twice per turn. It's not enough. He's behind on board.
Nossa, anular isso daí dói, hein, mano. Revoker dói.
Here is Phyrexian Revoker off the top of the library, but Josh says, sure. What are you going to even name that I care about that much?
Right. It doesn't do a whole lot, but at the same time, keep in mind that Josh Utter-Leyton is...
É aquela coisa, Revoker não tem um monte de coisa pra nomear, tipo, sei lá, deve ter nomeado uma Fetch, alguma coisa do tipo, mas é 2 de poder, o que é 3 de clock, o que assusta o Josh Utter-Leyton. Ainda mais quando a base de mana tá sendo triturada pelo jogo do Alan Wu.
Yeah, so at this point, Josh Utter-Leyton actually might be interested in just dazing anything that Alan Wu plays next turn, even if he can pay for it, because if he does that, he can bounce the Watery Grave
E bate
and,
2.
and then play it to cast.
Não deixou evoluir. O que eles estão apontando muito aqui, é até curioso, é que assim, o Josh Utter-Leyton pode querer desesperadamente dar Daze só pra voltar ao terreno e poder fazer alguma mágica dele. Por isso que ele pode, tipo, dar Daze e depois dar Fogo. Mas não, ele foi mais safe que isso.
To tap down that Watery Grave, meaning that Josh can't actually play a threat this turn. So Josh's land is actually tied up. So yeah, dazing again might have been an interesting option.
Revoker.
Because if he dazes it, he gets to return the Watery Grave to hand and play a Death Shadow on his turn.
Even though Alan can simply pay for it.
Right. But I mean, he does have that play available to him whenever he wants. He can do it now if he wants.
He's still gonna
É 3.
Force of Will again because even a lowly Phyrexian Revoker is a 2-turn.
Não consegue fazer nada, vai.
Jogo bom. Off the top of his library.
Alan's like, please play something. I want a daze.
Yeah, but he isn't. He's just passing the turn back. There's a Street Wraith.
Oh, geez.
Street Wraith seria muito ousado.
He can't really cycle the Street Wraith either, right? Because his likelihood of finding a fetch land is too high.
Okay, now there's a Flicker Wisp. So now what Alan Wu can do is play Flicker Wisp, target one of his lands. It'll come back into play at end of turn, and he still will have access to that Rishadan port to tap down the Watery Grave.
That's right. There's Flicker Wisp on the stack. He wants to.
Vai, volta, vai, taxa, letal.
I think Josh Utter-Leyton is just dead.
Just gonna lose here. He draws Stubborn Denial.
Que game bizarro, velho.
Wow, the Shadow player doing damage to himself backfired in a huge way as
Legacy sendo Legacy. Vamos para o Modern. Porque KCI contra Hollow One também não é o mundo das maravilhas. Já estamos no Game 2, então aqui o trio do Wu, Ru e Orange já abriu 1-0 em todos os games.
He does have 4 of them in his sideboard, so I wouldn't be surprised to see one, though he may have his hands full with things he needs to actually claim. He does have it in his hands. Okay, you can have your Hollow One, that's fine.
Pra voltar combando. Ignorando completamente o Hollow One. Falou, ah, da hora, bacana esse Hollow One. Deixa eu combar aqui rápido.
I mean, at some point he's gonna need to deal with it anyways, so he also, you know, based on this, looks like he's not too threatened about being outraced by that Hollow One on turn 1. There's an even bigger game in town where now you can face a turn 1 4/3 haste in Modern with the emergence of the red-black Vengevine deck.
Yeah, we saw yesterday 3 2/2 zombies on turn 1.
Yeah,
good clean fun there.
The deck has potential to do some very, very powerful things.
Yeah, that was followed up, by the way, by turn 2 Goblin Bushwhacker. This one a little bit more tame, perhaps, but we'll see if
evoluir, né? Em Ru.
Really needs to. You know, if he just loses a quick 2-0 to Ben Hull, boy, that's going to be a rough one.
Ele tem Burning Inquiry, tem Goblin Lore. Provavelmente ele vai abrir de Burning. E daí ele consegue dar alguma sequência na partida.
both need to win back-to-back games if we're going to take down this round. That's a tall order, to say the least. So Ben Hull really hoping to be able to ride this hollow one to victory and see if he can't disrupt.
Vai devagar, pelo jeito, fazer Gurmag. Vai no seguro, quer fazer um Gurmag, ele tem 9, tem 2 turnos clock. Ele bate mais, ele bate 11, 2 turnos clock. Tira, draw.
Instead, he opted to play a Gurmag Angler and still save that Flame Wake activation for the next turn.
Yeah, so much more damage here. He's going to be able to attack for 9, put Stark on a 2-turn clock,
right,
and really ramp up the heat here.
So yeah, Ben needs to start digging and find try to find a way to assemble a combo. He does have a Mirror Retriever in hand, which does soak up 5 damage presented by the Gurmag Angler, so that might buy Ben Stark an additional turn.
And that's a critical turn. Ben Stark's on the play this time.
Yeah.
So this is his 3rd land drop that he's hitting now. If he takes 9 or maybe 11 damage next turn, he'll still be clear of death. And then next turn,
3 manas até. River, tal.
Oh, but we see no
Descarregou a mão.
Right, but
E sem KCI.
managed to empty out his hand here.
Então falta 2 cartas em tese pro Ben Stark combar de algum jeito. Pô, Estrela da Mó, fiz o rolê. Era o que dava.
So that is, basically 3 cycles. And keep in mind also, Mind Stone is on the battlefield, which he can crack if he does need to find the pieces of the combo. So lots of draws here for Ben, but currently he does have 0 pieces of the combo. He needs the Scrap Trawler and the Clan Ironworks to basically try to go off. Although
I kind of liking this, by the way. This is good sweat for
it
us.
makes it exciting, for sure.
Tindo ali as opções. Ele pode mandar um Burning. Aproveitar que o adversário vai ser Milar 3. Ainda que esse deck Milar 3 não seja exatamente um problema, porque o Pierzinho ali consegue voltar pra mão. Então às vezes ele pode estar discutindo isso. Fazer o Goblin Lore e não fazer o...
With Stomping Ground in hand.
Stomping Ground for that green mana. Oh, baby.
Right. And currently with that Mirror Retriever on the battlefield, I don't think he's interested in casting that Burning Inquiry, as that will just provide Ben Stark with more cards in his graveyard to get back with the Mirror Retriever.
So he's going to go ahead and pay the mana, though, to get back the Flamewake Phoenix and send in the squad.
Toma 6, vai a 10.
Now choose to block the Gurmag.
Bomba aí.
Take 6, go down to 10. And then on the following turn, Ben Hull is representing Lethal.
Grudge.
And that's why Ben is going to not let that happen. Ben Hull says, I'm going to use Ancient Grudge on your Mirror Retriever. Not really where you want to be, but now you can see why. It's cleared the way. And can Ben Stark find what he needs? This is the turn to do it.
Aparentemente ele achou um KCI.
Ironworks. Okay,
KCI.
Oh, he did just stone cold rip the Clan Ironworks. The question is this going to be enough? He isn't all the way there yet.
Right. He still has a couple of draws here. He's got
those manas.
He's got the Chromatic Spear, and he did get that Terrarion back with the Mirror Retriever, so he does have a few draw steps.
Draw.
And every one of those 1 mana rocks, the Chromatic Stars and the Terrarions, will net Ben Stark 1 mana, as they cost 1 to cast, and you can sacrifice them to the Clan Ironworks to generate 2 mana, but they still trigger and draw your card. Chromatic Spear, however, does not do that.
That's right. So he's going to go for the star here.
Não, ele pode estourar a esfera filtrando pra verde.
Does that buy him even more looks?
Dependendo do que ele achar, ele consegue combar. Ele tem strings lá.
Now, also interesting, I believe his other draw step was a Nature's Claim. Now, if he can make a green mana, he could kill the hollow one, though he is still facing lethal otherwise.
Right.
But maybe the Retriever itself could block the Gurmag game.
Martin uses just like, I'm happy I'm not playing this deck, but let's see what we draw here. This is exciting. Here we go.
Não, tem o rolê que volta, tem o Mirrorzinho.
Yeah, but he has not
Baixo.
played his land for the turn yet. But
Aí,
still, there's nothing in the graveyard that he can get back. So I think he might want to crack this Spear, just filter the mana that he has and draw another card here.
Yeah, that's what
he really wants to find a Scrap Trawler.
He also said he wanted Ichor Wellspring the most. And he
Mais de bomba, dá pra estourar ela, as mana pra uma carta.
Ruin is a land drop he can make here.
É o que ele vai fazer.
So is he playing cycling here?
You can hear he just said, I'm playing it and sacking it. Now he draws a Mox Opal.
So he has a Mox Opal, which you can sack for mana. If he uses the mana that he has in hand currently on the battlefield, the 2 mana, he can play an artifact, and if he does, he will have Metalcraft. So then he can tap the Mox Opal for mana, giving him 3 mana if he chooses to sack the Mox Opal.
Let's listen to what Ben has to say. I don't know how well that came through, but he was asking Josh Utter-Leyton, so do you think I should play this? And he goes,
Sure.
He's like, look, man, you brought this deck, you play it.
Yeah. Yeah. He could have tapped the Mox Opal for mana there, but he's going to play a star anyways, so he still has Metalcraft to tap the Mox Opal for mana. All right, so I think he's going to tap the Mox Opal for mana, and then sacrifice the star, and we get to see what...
É como todo deck egg com...
Martin with a call there.
Se ele achar o scrap, ele consegue fazer...
What is this?
Oh, it's an Ichor Wellspring.
That's big.
Praticamente 0 mana, compra 2 cartas. Pedra pra se...
That was a Scrap Trawler.
Was that a Scrap Trawler?
Yes.
It might have been a Black Spellbomb. Does he?
We'll find out in a second.
He doesn't have Black Spellbomb. You might be right. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
it is a Scrap Trawler.
Tá, com o Scrap Trawler ele consegue combar.
Actually going to be able to pull this thing out. He's going.
Yeah, and
he's got the 2 retrievers in the yard too.
Você acha que vai dar tempo de ter efeito de Brother War no Partner CCG Pro Down? Vai. Porque vai ter uma semana de mall. Então vai ter um primeiro efeito sim. Depende também do que sair, né? Tipo, às vezes não vai ter um deck, nossa, novo, mas vai ter efeito sim. Só que se você achar que você não vai ter, por exemplo, acesso às coisas, nem esquenta a cabeça. Tem que esquentar a cabeça com o que você pode controlar, que é jogar bem Magic. Vai falar, agora eu vou gerar mana infinita e você morreu. Bombado no último turno possível.
The Pyrite Spellbomb doing 2 damage each time to Ben Hull, and Ben Stark finds his way out of that mess, giving his side of the table their first game win. And look at
Vamos para o próximo jogo.
Nice matchup here with red-black aggro versus blue-white control, kind of 2 ends of
Orange aqui, esse game tá 1-0 pro Gregory Orange. Se ele ganhar, ele marca o primeiro ponto pro trio dele, né? Lembrando que a gente tá na 11ª rodada, então tá lá nas cabeças. Já tá na hora de pensar em top 8.
I would say that Greg Orange is probably a small favorite in the first game, as the red-black aggro deck does have many removal spells in the main deck that doesn't really have many targets. But once you replace, these braids and cut to ribbons with, cards like Duress and Chandra, I think the matchup does swing a little bit more in red-black's favor.
Good follow-up here for Martin Juza. He fires off Heart of Kirin, and there's no reply from Greg, who just says, sure, you got it. And then Martin says, okay, well, I'll attack you for 3. And George says, okay, or excuse me, Orange says, okay. And then Martin says, well, let's make it 4.
Yeah.
Says, okay. He's down to 14, though it does look like he's going to lose his Heart of Kirin to an Invoke the Divine, or excuse me, a Forsake the Worldly.
I think he would have preferred that to be an Invoke the Divine currently, but the Exile clause is very relevant on a Forsake the Worldly, as you do get to get rid of the pesky Scrap Heap Scrounger.
And cycling's no.
Exactly.
Joke, yeah.
There are situations where your opponent just doesn't have anything and you need to draw, threats.
So
this is one of those turns with Martin Juza holding a Chandra Torch of Defiance.
Artefato
he really wants Greg Orange to, cast something like a Seal Away or Settle the Wreckage. He wants to basically make sure Orange is tapped out, because once that Chandra Torch of Defiance enters the battlefield, it will provide Juza with a continuous source of card advantage.
Eu falo que assim, você tinha que forçar uma jogada nesse
Oh no, he's just
turno 4 desses UWs, porque era quando eles queriam dar Glimmer, né, a carta e tal. Você não podia dar essa janela pro cara.
And a real problem here for
E
Gregory
ouch.
Orange. Cancel that order. Cast away.
2 damage.
That one packing 2. So yeah, a 1-for-1 and he's up a couple of damage, but we should note that Greg's life total is falling relatively quickly here. He's down to 9.
Yeah, and the PNLR is a pretty good mana sink. It's a very strong threat by itself. Martin Juza doesn't really need to overcommit to the board here because PNLR has the ability where if you do tap 2 mana, you
Não sei se ele vai começar a pumpar essa pia em algum momento. Seria interessante.
She comes with an artifact creature.
She does.
I
Comes
think
with a friend.
she might have built it, in fact.
Yeah. She is an artificer.
Acho que é sobre isso que ele tá pensando.
And Greg is in an awkward position where he actually drew a tap land, even though he's got Lyra.
Pode bater até 6.
in hand. The good news for him though,
Mas
is
esse
he does
clock
have
ficar
that
2.
package
Pode
that
tomar uma
makes
remoção, alguma coisa, aí você perde tudo.
And Martin Juza is trying his best to figure
Provavelmente é
out
sobre isso que o Martin Juza tá
how to
pensando. Fora o
manage
Settle the Wreckage, né?
if he moves
Além de uma spot removal, ele deve estar pensando no famoso Settle the Wreckage aí.
Yeah,
Que
Martin Juza's
settled, it's his whole turn.
já andou aparecendo um pouquinho, dando um oi pra galera.
Before attacking, because by doing that, Greg Orange might use a counter magic spell like Essence Get or Disallow to counter the Goblin Chain Whirlwind, and if he does do that, then the coast is clear and you can just attack with both the PNLR and the Thopter, and you don't have to worry about a card like Seal Away or Settle the Wreckage, at least on this turn.
Looks like he's got his 6th land
But-
as well. That's going to make a difference as it can allows another thought.
I think
Um
I
pouco.
expect 1 pump here, and probably that's it. This way, if Greg Orange does have Settle the Wreckage, Martin Juza can follow that up with a
Yep.
threat in Goblin Chain Whirler.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. Greg feels like taking 4 damage at this point is just too much, so he's going to fire off Settle, and that is going to clear the way for him to be at, as it turns out, he's going to be at 8 life, but he's going to get to play Lyra Dawnbringer with just facing down 1/3/3, and he's got reasonable life total at 8 as well. That's got to be good for Greg.
2 ligas e um cast out, meu Deus. Vai ser muito difícil pro Martin Juza ganhar esse game. Mas com Chain Wheeler. Tem tipo da desintegração.
And it puts you in a really awkward spot because there are going to be games where you just lose because you have a dead card in your hand.
So this is a big draw step here for Juza, because if he could find an answer, if he still has them in his library, that could be... Oh, he doesn't. He finds a mountain. And all of a sudden, the brick wall is in place.
Healer e tal, aí é
He can
foda.
play another copy of Goblin Chain Whirler, but he's going to fall
E vai.
way behind Lyra Dawnbringer, and he doesn't even bother playing it out. And now, all of a sudden, Greg Orange is in full control.
Vira 15-13, aí o game... Cara, já era.
Lyra, it's not gonna do much.
Martin Juza já vai de base
He's
nessa.
got disallow now as well. I believe.
Yeah, even if Martin Juza draws a removal spell, it doesn't matter as Orange has a second copy of Lyra and counter magic to protect the Lyra, so it's going to be really difficult for Martin to get out of this.
Yeah, Greg Orange is like, feels good, man. This is a nice place to be.
Sobe ali
If
3.
you're the blue-white control player. And sure, he can trade damage, but you know what? It's 5 and a 10-point life swing versus just 3 for
Yeah.
Martin.
There's always that tense moment. Geese.
Wow.
Mostrando na mão ali, tipo, tá
Greg, he is
bom o rolê.
loving this.
Esquenta não que tá bom.
He's like, you know what? You can just keep pushing that advantage bar as far as you can here. Yeah, I got this one locked up. Feels good, man.
No, he really owned that the sentiment of feels good, man, right there.
Oh, and Martin even drew the disintegration.
The real question for Greg is, does he want to just let it go and replay, or does he want to play his disallow? Yeah,
I think he wants to disallow because he values the life gain here.
It is a significant slowdown
Yeah.
if he says, okay, sure, and then takes 3, and then has to cast another one.
And then you're basically tapped out
Not
anyways.
attacking.
2 turnos ele
So,
consegue.
yeah, and he drew a land for a cast out here.
Martin Juza.
Unclear if he's going to do it here, but unclear if he's going to use the cast out, but it looks like he does.
O
This
cast
makes it so
out
that he's
abriu, né, pra tomar
race.
alguma outra remoção, mas
By
toma a
not-
segunda
if he
lira.
wasn't using it, he'd be trading
Deixa a vida do
basically
Gregory
5
hoje
damage for 1
tão
damage,
melhor, cara.
as he
Tão
does
melhor.
with
Toma
the 5
assim.
life with the Lyra Dawnbringer. But yeah, this is Lyra is just taking gigantic chunks out of Martin uses life total. Needs to find a
E
removal
abraço.
spell. Does not.
Can't do it. So that is Greg
1-0 pro trio
Orton,
deles.
first match for his team. We're going to be cutting to the top 4 just a little bit later today, and that is going to start to really get in sight. Now, if you're on the other side of the table for the Channel Fireball team, you know, you would
Para o
drop
Legas,
to 9-2.
o Allen
Still well
Wu
within range. It's
Right.
just, you know, a bit less likely that
já
it
está abrindo.
So let's see if they can fight back.
Brainstorm.
We have seen some incredible comebacks already in this tournament, and I'll tell you what, if I'm facing down the triple Hall of Fame team, I am not feeling comfortable even with the one match advantage that they've got.
Right. I mean, we just saw an impressive win from Ben Stark. Keep in mind, Ben Hall had the ideal start. He had turn 1 Leyline of the Void into a hollow one, followed by Gurmag Angler, and then a turn 3 Ancient Grudge.
Yes, he did.
And Ben won. Or
Normally,
Ben Stark won.
Yeah, and remember, when Ben started that turn, he had no combo pieces.
Right.
Utter-Leyton não pode deixar
He just
uma
stoned
carta
full
dessa
top deck
ah,
when he needed,
porque
and was able to piece together
desliga a parte do deck dele, ele não pode se dar o luxo desse.
Alan Wu with the ideal start of turn 1 Ether Vial, but Josh Utter-Leyton did have the daze here.
O ideal seria ter uma.
He actually just replays his land and has no play for the
Seria ter Delver pra fazer clock, mas a vida não é.
And he's going to need more counter magic because there is a Stoneforge Mystic, and that's another kind of
Version?
plus counter card if you're sitting in Utter-Leyton seat.
Yeah, he does have another daze, which means it's going to further stunt his mana. But at the same time, the Hollow One deck can operate fairly easily on 1 mana, as basically it's got, you know, something like 27, 28 1-mana spells in its
Falando
deck.
bastante sobre qual jogo era fazer, né? O Ben Stark.
Josh
Ele né, já acabou o jogo do Ben
has
Stark,
a
então ele tá
snuff out
livre
which you can use to deal
os
with
colegas
Stoneforge
dele
Mystic.
falar sobre a partida. Mesma coisa o
Yeah, we
Gregory
see
Orange.
Alan Wu has the ability. Oh, it does resolve, by the way.
E
Has the ability
resolve.
to get Umezawa's GT,
Podemos ter
also
Butter
has
School aqui na
some
mesa.
nice
E Butter School é muito bom porque, por mais que tenha o problema de você bater picado contra Death Shadow, Butter School ganha vida. Então você ainda fica um pouco mais de boa. E que nem né, se ele achar ali uma espada, alguma coisa do tipo, é mais interessante. Vamos ali Fatal Push.
Josh Utter-Leyton had a removal spell in hand, and if he does have a removal spell in hand, if you fetch a Batterskull, it's going to be a while before you actually get to cast a Batterskull. So given that information, it could have been possible for Alan Wu to consider getting a cheaper equipment that he can cast, something like a Sword of Fire and Ice or an Umezawa's GT.
Yeah, the thing that compounds this is that Alan actually has another copy of Stoneforge in hand as well, so he may have been like, it's fine if you kill this, I can
Tem na
use
mão
an
do
activated ability
Gideon,
to
aliado do Zendikar. Isso é forte.
on.
Com seus Judgment, que é mais
12 for Utter-Leyton.
bem. Desceu vida. Hit o Thoras. Isso aí dói.
Let's spin the wheel. This is
Descartar no aleatório dói.
His hand is pretty stacked, but it does look like he could use an additional land here. What are we getting?
I'm curious if he hits the other Stoneforge.
What do we got?
Oh, he hit a
Mother of Runes e Flicker Wisp.
That means that Stoneforge is still in hand. The reason I was curious about it was just because he's light on mana sources, and as you mentioned a minute ago, Paul, that Batterskull likely to get stuck in hand for a
Alan really
long
wants a
time.
land because that way his
How about
Stoneforge gets to
Horizon
play around days. So that was a huge draw from Alan Wu.
Sonic Forge, novamente jogando em volta de Daisy.
And it resolves
Já tem
because
Butters
of
com
that
mão, né? Ele
land
pode
base
pegar outro
for
equipamento,
Utter-Leyton.
pode pegar
He's
E,
helpless.
pode pegar uma
And all
espada,
he can
pegou
do is,
Fire
okay,
Ice,
you got it. And now
Caixa dói.
Alan's gonna go get a Sword of Fire and Ice.
Utter-Leyton tem Snuff Out.
That Stoneforge Mystic
Duas cantrips
at the
e
ready. If he gets to untap, the world is his oyster. I mean, he can just start putting in Batterskulls or even the sword.
Yeah, Josh Utter-Leyton needs to find a threat fairly quickly. You know, he does have a good amount. I mean, he's playing 4 Delvers, 4 Death Shadows, along with Gurmag Angler, and he does have some deck manipulation spells in his hand. And he's got the Fatal Push for the Stoneforge Mystic. And I
Vamos
imagine
ver se
he's
acha
going to
alguma
be using
coisa.
that so that Alan
É.
Wu can't just put that Batterskull.
A Stoneforge não vai.
He has a
Ah, na
Snap
mesa.
Out, right?
Oh, I thought he had
O Utter-Leyton precisa achar clock.
Oh, okay.
Did he
Puro,
have a
velho.
backup? Yeah, he
É, dor
used
de
one on
preferência.
the
Alright,
initial.
So he's got the snuff out here for the Stoneforge.
Though he paid a dear price.
Uma hora
for
simplesmente o cara vai fazer Butter School no
his
braço, tá
life
ligado?
flew
Butter School,
two
tal,
distance
anulou,
from
anulou,
game
vamos lá.
number 1, and ended up losing as a result.
If he doesn't find a threat, I believe Josh Utter-Leyton also is holding a Wasteland in his hand. Although, or maybe he's looking at a Wasteland.
FK?
Yeah, so he's got a Wasteland in his hand, so he could choose to use
Achou uma
the
Wasteland, não é um draw
and
ruim.
also the snuff out to kind of make it so that it's more likely that his dazes will be live.
Ouch.
Snuff out happens. Go down to 8. Stoneforge Mystic hits the graveyard. Dread of So that locks out actually quite a few.
Dread of the Night. Criaturas brancas tem -1/-1. O cara está no ódio. Ia falar nada não. Também tem o Gideon ali, né? Mas porra. E dá pra fazer um com Seal Judgment também.
And look at this, Council's Judgment.
But Josh Utter-Leyton does have a daze here, and I imagine he's going to fire it off here.
Yeah,
Gotta be happy about that.
You know, he picks up his underground sea, not his watery grave.
He's like, I'm already
Quer ficar com a mana dele, o Josh Utter-Leyton.
That's right. But what does he really need? A threat.
Oh, and there it is.
What did he find?
I believe that was a Death Shadow.
All right. That is what he's been looking for. Alan Wu has done a marvelous job of just presenting a lot of threats here.
No, it wasn't. Maybe it's a Liliana the Last Hope. I see one of those in his sideboard. Let's take a look.
That wouldn't be bad.
Utter-Leyton pensando. É Liliana. Ele tem uma Liliana na mão, um Brainstorm Underground. Se ele pode fazer Liliana agora, só subir e ir ticando ela pra cima, já que né, ela consegue ganhar jogos sozinha. Ainda mais com um Dread of Night na mesa.
My guess would be 0. Mirren Crusader survives.
Mirren Crusader is the only creature.
Just because you can't target it.
Right.
Com Liliana,
Only one, no?
a morte é real. Ele vai descer.
That one survives, but not a lot.
Achou.
But Alan Wu, I believe, had a Gideon Allied Zendikar in hand. I could totally see him playing it and then using the emblem to counteract that Dread of Night.
Oh, that'd be interesting too.
Dá uma olhadinha no que tem ali. O Alan Wu, né, tá olhando e falando, bom, vamos ver o que esse cara tem. Foi coisa pra caralho, o cara comprou um monte de coisa. Lembrando, assim, esses decks tem um monte de cantrip, né? A gente chama isso de Turbo Xerox. Porque tem o núcleo do deck que é bem pequeno e um monte de cantrip. Hoje, no Legacy é muito comum. No Pauper acontece bastante também. E no Modern começa a acontecer cada vez mais também, né? Que as cantrips do Modern não são tão boas, mas o plano existe. Espada. Achando que esse jogo do Alan 1 aqui foi de base.
Dread of Night on the battlefield. Perhaps Josh Utter-Leyton's sideboard strategy is going to let him come out the victor here. He's going
Vida, vai comprar carta, vai subir Liliana. Monte de remoção.
Brainstorm and Liliana the Last Hope minus. You can effectively kind of use it as a fetch land where you cast a Brainstorm, put your worst 2 cards on top, and then minus on the Liliana.
I like that. That's interesting. And look at this. Dead draws for Alan Wu. He just is going to play another equipment. This time it's Umazawa Jite. But that doesn't do anything because his draw step was Mother of Runes.
A coisa não tem nada fazendo pressão pra acabar o jogo, vamos que vamos.
Let alone connecting with it.
Right. Yeah, this is going to be really rough for Alan. I don't even know how he gets out of this.
I actually just want to see Liliana Ultimate now. I have no interest in grinding. I want to see
outro Dread of Night.
Oh, jeez.
Nada vai fugir. Absolutamente nada vai fugir do cara agora. Ele pode usar esse Dread of Night como remoção, tá ligado? Se tiver um Mirren Crusader no deck do Alien Wu, tipo, ele fica com o Dread of Night esperando, faz, beleza, entrou, matei e segue a vida. É um plano bem razoável. There's a preordain and off of the brainstorm with 2 cards going back on top of the library.
Ooh, are we going to see the... Did he just pick up the Liliana already? I was wondering if we're going to see the Liliana minus.
He has not picked up the Liliana. And there it is, just like you described.
Menos a Liliana pra ele mandar algumas cartas embora. Vai pagar 2 de vida, comprar uma carta. Tentando achar alguma coisa, né? Preferência um Del, Death Shadow.
Like, is there anything, like, does Alan have an answer for the Dread of Night, either of them?
Yeah, he has 2 copies of Council's Judgment in his sideboard, so we already saw one.
Yeah.
So it's going to be nearly impossible for Alan Wu to get out of this. He really wants to basically he wants to get to that 4th and 5th mana to be able to play both Gideon and Batterskull. But if he doesn't,
Ai, ai.
he is in a lot of trouble.
Qual é a questão do Josh achar alguma coisa?
Maybe take care of the other one
É isso.
via Council's Judgment.
Se não me engano, tem um Delver ali.
Ponder now for Utter-Leyton.
All right. Finally, Josh has found a creature that he can cast. That's a Delver of Secrets on top.
That's business. By the way, I see another copy of Days in hand for Josh, which is another speed bump along the way here for Alan Wu, making it that much more difficult for him to get up to 5 mana and actually resolve that Batterskull.
Yeah, and Alan Wu cannot afford to use that Wasteland, but he does have Swords to Plowshares in hand.
You see him
Plowshares, porra, deu mó trabalho pra achar o
I
deck.
think he understands the
O cara vai lá e
incredible
exila.
want that he's
É
under
foda.
thanks to 2 Dread of Night plus Liliana, the Last Hope. Sideboard
E vai.
from Josh Utter-Leyton coming in extremely handy.
Oh yeah, taking a look at Josh Utter-Leyton's sideboard, he did not want to lose to Death and Taxes. The multiple copies of Dread of Night and Liliana, the Last Hope.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's got all the hate cards lined up.
Em algum momento ele tem que achar os bichos.
Bottom, he's just looking for what, a Death Shadow? That would be
Meu Deus, outro Devil of Night.
Okay.
Não vai ter game, tá ligado? Tipo, o Utter-Leyton agora ele pode
Right, it's not like
só ficar ticando.
Alan Wu has engineered explosive
Right.
for 1 in his sideboard.
Right. Though it does look like Josh declined to actually play the 3rd Dread of Night.
Maybe just doesn't want to give away information potentially for game number 3, because it is very likely that that's where we're headed here.
Also, actual number of Alan's creatures survive at this point.
Right. Yeah.
So it is a little overkill, I guess.
Right. There is no. Well, there have been some Death and Taxes decks that do play like a singular copy of Brightling, which is a 3 mana 3/3. So that could be maybe a reason.
Okay.
To just have the Dread of Night in play.
Not the case here, though, right?
Lindo, o que vai fazer, porque faz isso. Pois ele o game tá acabado, tá ligado? O Josh Utter tem que achar um jeito de ganhar.
Alan Wu has in his sideboard, but it would die the moment it hits the battlefield.
Nesse sentido, fica um game bem chato, assim, porque é um jogo que já acabou, só que se o Josh Utter não matar, não acaba, então. Vai lá, jovem.
Or that Batterskull that he has in hand. But Raptors just up so many cards.
Pra tirar dúvida, o Alien U, né? Que nem eles falaram, né? Tipo, tem o Gideon, por isso que eles estão mostrando na tela, que dá pra ultar e melhorar um pouco a situação. Ou ficar como criatura mesmo e tal. E Batterskull é preto, né, velho? Então. Se achar, achou. Horas?
Another him to Turok now.
Oh, this is big. Raptor might just be able to seal the deal here if he just gets
Base?
Gideon, Alex, Zendikar, and Batterskull.
Yeah.
3.
What is it?
Nope, just blinks.
Yep, just bricks that aren't doing anything anyway.
Pelo jeito, ele deu uma animada de subir Liliana pra ver se ulta ela, porque daí é GG.
It might be emblem.
Esse ultimate é GG.
Now this does actually open up Gideon, though. It looks like he doesn't want to play it.
Looks like he wants to play around a Daze.
Yeah.
That's a Death Shadow. Josh Utter-Leyton has finally found some threats. It looks like there's also Delver of Secrets in hand, so.
Nada. Delver. Temos um clock.
Is he going to just drop both threats in the same turn? Yeah.
E Death Shadow. 9/9. Agora o negócio vai.
Thalia Guardian of Thraben off the top of the library for Alan, though. It must be said that's not what he wants. And now he's seriously considering just running out the Gideon. The real problem here is that Josh is still at 4, and Gideon would only be a 3/3, right? It's still a white creature.
Right.
So
but he might want to take up
Flipou, já bate 12 de dano, então 2 turnos clock pro Utter-Leyton. Agora é ele colocar o máximo de counter na mão dele e essa vitória não escapa.
Of course, any knights that Gideon makes would instantly be.
Yeah, Liliana, the Last Hope is a nice card to have in the sideboard because not only is it very, very effective against Death and Taxes, it's just a good way to grind through the various Grixis control decks that we've seen pop up in this tournament.
I love that card.
Yeah. down to 6 life here.
Por Maguizão. Aí, achou todos os bichos agora. Agora vai.
Yeah, now
It
this,
feels like there's just nothing left for Alan Wu to do at this point.
right.
Now, even resolving one of the spells that we've been talking about this whole time doesn't actually do anything.
One really fun interaction is the interaction between Swords to Plowshares and Death Shadow. If you if your opponent has like multiple Death Shadows in play, you can Swords one, and then I believe the other one would die.
It
Yes.
Abraço.
Oh, that's nasty.
So you just gotta make sure
Seguimos
you
no
have
game.
Death Shadows against the Swords to Plowshares deck.
That's right. Okay, well, Josh Utter-Leyton does end up taking down that game, and that. One of the interesting things, though, Paul, that I've seen when you bring in this much hate out of
Vamos pra mesa do Modern agora.
difficult to enact
Onde quem ganhar
I
leva.
mean, that's 2 cards right there that don't actually attack.
Yeah, definitely. But
Slime, deixa a Leyline ali na mesa.
sideboard out for Ben Hull. You know, oftentimes these decks do play some interaction in the form of Lightning Bolt and some copies of Collective Brutality. So I think those are the types of spells that I could see Ben
A
Hull
juiz chama
taking
atenção,
out.
amigão.
Or
Leyline na frente do terreno.
and the Thoughtseizes and maybe a
Tá no
couple
Pro Tour, me
of-
ajuda aí.
so he probably had to shave down on. I could see maybe even a couple of Burning Inquiries because of the fact that Ben Stark relies so heavily on his graveyard. And you know it's not. He's not really going too far out of the way to put those sideboard cards in. But yes, you know, when you do play these like decks that are trying to be very linear, yet people often do run into the issue of over sideboarding.
We'll see if that's the case here for Ben Hull. He's cast a Faithless Looting now. He's drawn the 2, has yet to discard.
Yeah, and Leyline of the Void, very, very effective here. It even shuts down that Chromatic Star.
You don't even get the card?
Yeah, you do not. Chromatic Star says when it hits your graveyard, you get to draw a card. So while it's very nice with an effect like Card Clan Iron,
Eles estão explicando um pouco das interações de Leyline, que Leyline ela desliga cartas que falam
Leyline of the Void in play.
morrer,
This is where you want
por assim dizer.
Spear.
Quando essa carta for para o cemitério. Então ela desliga todas essas cartas. E nisso ela acaba sendo extremamente forte.
But again, the thing that I keep thinking about is, okay, if I'm Ben, I'm obviously not super happy that I got Thoughtseizes and Leyline on turn 0 and turn 1.
Right.
But you should have more time, right? Like, if those 2 things happen, it means that you're less likely to be facing down a hollow one or some huge creatures
Yeah,
or whatever.
it is far less likely for you to have Leyline of the Void, Thoughtseize, and then lands, and then like a Goblin Lore, and then also the creatures to kind of get everything going.
Bora, tá.
So what can Ben do with that time?
Ah, o Ru agora precisa de um clock, senão ele deixa o Ben Stark comprar tudo que ele precisa.
Oh.
He's probably going to need to find another one, Paul, and he just did right off the top of the library. He's going to still build out his board
Mox.
here, though, with Mox, Opal, and Mindstone, and leave that Nature's Claim in his hand, unbeknownst to Hull. Now, this does, of course, expose it to a potential Thoughtseize, but beyond that, he can now fire that thing off and then go off all in one turn. And right now, no pressure from Hull.
Looting.
Another
Down.
looting.
Legal, dá pra mandar aquela Leyline embora.
Let's get a little interesting. He just drew another ley line. Now he can't cast it this turn, but he could just start hard casting.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to discard that. I think he wants to set up a game plan where he can hit his land drops and cast another one because, you know, Ben really heavily relies on
O Ru
his
tem
graveyard,
Bloodghast,
so he does
Lore e
just wanna
Ancient
have additional copies of
Seekers.
those.
Now, that same point, though, that we've been making about Ben Hull also applies to Ben Stark. You know, he brought in 4 copies of Nature's Claim, and he's drawn 2 of them. But one card we haven't seen from him yet is Card Clan Ironworks. It does also put a dent in your ability to find your combo pieces. And even if he didn't sideboard quite as extensively, he's going to be, you know, maybe taking a little bit longer than normal to find all the pieces.
One advantage of Ben's deck, however, is that most of his deck just cycles. So oftentimes, if you're given the time, you can spend the mana to kind of go through all of the Chromatic Spheres, Mind Stones, and Stars.
Auto Bloodcast, tem como passar Ancient Grudge Up ou vai fazer já? Não. Goblin Lore. 2, 3, 4. E vamos lá.
Alright, so Goblin Lore here.
A 5.
Ben Hull is tapped out here. And we do know that Ben Stark had his Scrap Trawler in hand off the Thoughtseize. Now let's take a look at Ben's hand. What is he working with on top of the Nature's Claim? So he
Scrap
does have-
Trawler ali que está desligado, mas tem um Nature's Climb na mão do Ben Stark.
Again, Nature's Claim, the most important card here.
Vamos ver o que ele leva nessa.
Ben really wants to hit that other leyline of the void, actually.
Yeah, that's a long-term problem for him.
Does he hit it?
Ancient Grudge, me parece que é uma leyline e um Bloodghast.
I didn't see what the middle card was.
Right, it's hard to tell, but he did get an Ancient Grudge.
And there we go.
Tira, Scrap, ligou.
Is going to put Ben Hull back up to 19, but crucially gets rid of that ley line.
And that black card in graveyard was a Gurmag Angler, so he still has that leyline of the void in hand. Can Ben Stark go off this turn? Did he draw a card Clan Ironworks?
That is the first question. No.
E passa, falou não.
The draw step for him.
Segue lá.
Maybe he just never had a leyline.
He did end up discarding.
Oh, to the Faithless Looting?
Yep,
Okay.
to the Faithless.
I guess he thought he was safe given that he used the Thoughtseize on the Nation's
That's right.
Flame.
Yeah, do you remember when you were saying, well, he's going to want to hold on to that? Well, he disagreed.
Right. He wanted to put pressure.
That could come back to bite him.
It just
in
seems
a major way.
You're right. It just seems so difficult to lose if your game plan is just putting a bunch of leyline of the voids into play. Like Ben has to find multiple nature's claims.
Fazer Fênix, bater 4, ou fazer Bloodcast, depois fazer Fênix, bater 4, pode ser também. Acho que ele tem um loot no grave.
It's not like Ben can just be like, oh, I'll just start beating down with scrap trawlers, right? Like he doesn't have a viable backup plan.
Yeah, but Ben Hull still has disruption, but at this point he wants to put
fez
pressure
looting.
on. Ben Stark also has that Inventor's Pair on the battlefield, which is gaining him a life a turn.
Bora, dele faz terreno, volta pro Bloodcast, bate 2. Ok, né? Devagar, né? Devagar.
Plays his third land, that's going to bring 2 Bloodghast back.
Avisar o coleguinha ali pra não perder trigger, né? Importante.
So down to 18. Still some time, but now there is 6 power up facing down Ben Stark, who's at 18. So 3-turn clock, and maybe even more power now thanks to the Gurmag.
Elas vão até falando, ó, exila o negócio ali.
Now, for Ben Hull, he has fully added to the battlefield. So now has 11 power.
Ben is using now the Inventor's Fair to search out.
E procurou KCI.
Does he have all the pieces he needs? Ben Hull is currently tapped out. He has that Ancient Grudge in his graveyard, but he doesn't have the green mana to flash it back. And we do know he has a Scrap Trawler in hand as well.
Yeah, Ben has a land drop.
Acabou de ficar full tapped, pelo jeito vai ser combadinho BR. Ficando full tapped. Pelo jeito vai ser o Legacy que vai decidir essa rodada.
This could be a misstep from Ben Hull, but we'll see. You heard Ben Stark say, look, I've got some stuff here, but I'm not just, done. We're not done here.
Right. Does he want to keep up that buried ruin?
All right, we're going to stick with this match, but we'll be also keeping an eye on Josh Utter-Leyton versus Alan Wu, just because this one is taking quite a while.
Right, so now Ben can play the card Clan Ironworks.
Pelo jeito, o game do Legacy vai acontecer em paralelo, eles não vão esperar. Já falaram para os jogadores irem lá, porque falaram, os caras podem demorar, tal, então dá uma agilizada na minha vida. 2, 3, 4, faz Strawl. Fazendo a conta ali. E pelo jeito do Legacy já vai acontecendo também para não atrasar, então tem descarte ali. Ambas as partidas estão empatadas. Fica pro resultado delas para quem vai levar esse round. Round 1.
That only gives him one draw step. But it looks like that's what he's going for here. Okay, so now he's gonna sack the star or the star, get back the Mox Opal, and then he gets a draw here.
That was a buried ruin.
Right.
Here, let's listen.
Draw, fez Mox. Tá, e aí, jovem? Se ele não achar nada, dá ruim.
And Ben is at a pretty healthy life total, so he's not going to die here.
He can take the hit. The problem is the Ancient Grudge. If he passes the turn, he could lose the Cart Clan Ironworks.
Right. Which would give Ben, you know, the Mind Stone back, and he does have that Buried Ruin on the battlefield. But by losing the Cart Clan Ironworks, he's not going to have like a lot of mana to actually be able
Discutindo
to
como é que vai ficar essa play, né? Porque se ele não combater Ancient Grudge, e eu imagino que o Ru não vai esquecer dessa vez.
He can sack Trawler to get back the Mind Stone. Now he's going to have a bunch of mana. So if he sacks the Trawler, he's going to go up to 6, cast the Mind Stone, go to 4, cycle the Mind Stone, and then
he
go to
just
3.
passed the turn.
Oh, it looks like he's passing the turn. Okay.
E passou, sem.
On the board,
A gente vai vir Grudge,
11 damage, he's at 18.
levar o Scrap,
It's
especialmente.
hard for Cole to come up with 7 more damage out of
Ou o
Village,
próprio
so
KCI.
Stark is very likely to untap here. The question
E aí
is,
começar a fazer os
what does
ataques.
it look like if he gets to, because the Cart Clan Ironworks can just go away,
E aí, Charlão, bom, mano?
It looks like in the graveyard.
Tamo vendo, cara, tamo vendo KCI, velho. É normalmente pra olhar com uma cara.
Lore.
This could change things.
There's another Bloodghast that he could maybe hit with a land, but they wouldn't get haste because Ben Stark's currently at 18. So Ben does have at least one more turn, but by casting this Goblin Lord, that does increase the chances of Ben Hull finding potentially another Ancient Grudge.
3. Acertou um oco.
Okay.
KCI dói, não, pra caralho, velho. E o pior que assim, isso aqui é mesa 1, tá ligado? Na 11ª rodada de 14. Então, tipo, mesmo se ele perder, provavelmente vai ver ele mais uma vez.
It's in Ben Hull's best interest here to use that Ancient Grudge on the Cart Clan Ironworks to slow Ben down.
I mean, that's just a huge.
Eles estão discutindo a jogada e tal, onde é que ele vai dar o
Use the Buried Ruin to
Ancient Grudge, né? Se vai ser no KCI, se vai ser no Scrap.
does do that, he will not have the mana to replay at that turn, meaning that Ben Hull might just be able to take down
Bateu um monte.
with 2 attacks.
Yeah.
É 7.
7 already.
Ele fazer um Tazigur. É o que ele fará.
Gonna play Tassiger.
5.
Is he just gonna grudge?
Amigo, dá esse Ancient Grudge logo, velho.
Okay, so Ben needs to draw out of this because there is a lot of damage. Ben will not be able to survive another attack here because we have 3 Bloodghasts, a Gurmag Angler, a Tassiger, and 2 Flamewake Phoenixes that are in Ben Hull's graveyard.
Right now, the Ancient Grudge is targeting the Cart Clan Ironworks.
E ele vai dar Natural's Climb, tentar ficar vivo, né? 11 de vida, tá? Blá, 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 blá.
On his own KCI to gain 4 life.
Escolhendo o que vai voltar.
Remember, he has a scrap.
Tá bem ruimzinha a situação pro Ben.
2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's at 11.
And he's deciding whether or not to get Star or Mind Stone, and he opted for the Star here.
Oof, this feels like it's going to be very, very close. Right now, that Mox Opal no longer.
Não achou nada agora. Agora ele vai de base.
Ben Stark is at 11.
Ele vai ter que bloquear com o Scrawler, se bem que dá 3, 6, 10, 11, 12. Ele tá morto. Ele tem o Natural's Climb, né? Mas ele tá bem mortinho nesse game.
Unless he found the 4th Nature's Claim to stabilize at 1 life.
I think he did.
Did he?
I think.
What is Ben working with here? Does he?
They don't play around the 4th one.
Aí vai fazer isso. Passar. Ele vai voltar ao KCI.
Man, if Ben Stark pulls this.
So Ben has the ability.
Ele ganha 4, ele vai a 15 e ele consegue ficar vivo nesse game. E voltar coisa ainda.
Yeah, but I think he's gonna go with the Flamewake Phoenix kill here.
Right, he can't do both. He cannot do both.
So what Ben can do here
9,
is block
15,
Gurmag
16,
Angler,
17. Ele bate 19, na real.
Flamewake Phoenixes and the Bloodghasts and the Tassiger is threatening 14 damage. Ben is at 11. If he uses Nature's Claim on his own Terrarion,
Ben.
he will go up to 15, which means he'll go down to 1 life.
Oh,
and I
look at
think
Ben. He's like, just kill me, man.
right,
You got
and
it.
I think he has enough mana to actually. Does he have enough mana to Nature's Claim and also use Buried Ruin this turn?
There it
I
is.
think he
Both
does.
Flamewake Phoenix.
Até com
Everything
tudo.
comes into the red zone.
No, he doesn't.
Esses são 2 pássaros.
Oh wait, when Terrarian hits the graveyard, you just get the 2 mana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is crazy. Oh, he does not
Ih,
get
deixa eu
the mana.
ver.
He does not get the mana. So he
4,
just gets to just
8,
draw a card.
14. Ele fica um...
He does draw a card when it hits the battlefield, but you can see the game plan coming together, though. Block.
Ben,
Blow up my
go to
Terrarian
1.
to draw a card. I want to go to 15 and take 14.
Tá draw. Tá fazendo? Ah, tá. No próprio Scrawler pra voltar uma coisa.
Right, and this means that there's a higher chance that Ben can draw a cheaper artifact for the Metalcraft for the Mox Opal. So he just wants to make sure he has enough artifacts in play for that.
That's right. Hey, you don't want to make a mistake when you've planned out this game this ridiculously close way. And you can see that Martin was just
mais bicho, vai lá.
That's not going to do anything here. Ben Hall
he
has
had the mana.
infinite lethal threats. He is ready to go.
E achou um artefato, meu Deus do céu.
Oh, that was a nice draw. Was that a Darksteel Citadel? Wow, if Ben gets out of
E
this,
ele consegue dar um scrap pra...
on the battlefield.
Right, and now he has that second copy of Buried Ruin to get back Scrap Trawler. Does he have the mana to do everything?
4, ele consegue fazer
Yeah,
6.
so Ben has 4 mana. Oh, and a Mox Opal!
Oh my goodness sakes. Ben Stark finds Mox Opal, which is a big mana boost, especially if he has another artifact, which he does.
So now he gets to play Mox Opal, wow, and the Citadel was
The
huge
Citadel too. There it is. The 2 parts of the combo. Now he just needs to piece together enough card draw.
He needs to be able to cycle through enough cards here. He does have a Mind Stone and a Chromatic Star, which is
Agora ele consegue
Wow.
outra... Meu
Oh,
Deus.
this is incredible. Can he actually make it through?
Stabilizing at 1 life. Will he be able to piece together the combo here?
It took 4 copies of Nature's Claim to get him here. 2 of them targeting his own face.
Mox, comprou uma carta.
Thoughtseize, Ancient Grudge.
Outra pedrinha.
Plays
Tem outra Mox no grave pra voltar.
Let's put that Mind Stone in the yard.
Ah, tem explosivos, que é na dúvida 0.
Not gonna do a lot. It
Que
does
ajuda no
provide,
loop.
2 mana.
Right? He's
Tem que achar o Mir.
lowest mana floating.
So I think he just has to play the star here and try to
Cross his fingers.
right, like something like an Ichor Wellspring would be great. Mirror Retriever would also be good. But yeah, this is a big draw.
Oh, can he hit something great here? There's the...
Mox, mana não vai
He has
faltar.
all the mana in the world.
It's the ability to keep drawing cards that he
Oh,
needs.
okay, that's another card to
It is.
cycle.
It doesn't
He has a
net
bunch of
him
mana.
one, but it keeps cycling through. One at a time. Like you said, he's got all the mana he
Mox,
needs.
tal.
Thanks to recurring that.
Agora,
Mox.
tá, ele consegue ficar voltando
Every
Mox.
time he plays it, taps it, and sacks it, it's 3 mana added to his pool.
So close. So float a mana, sack Mox Opal.
Chat is chanting Hall of Fame at Ben Stark right now.
Mana.
Alright, here we go. Another
Agora.
very, very important draw step here. What is
Draw. Land.
Oh,
What is a land?
E aí acaba.
This is really getting down to it.
Wow. Now does Ben want to make sure he gets a bunch of mana before sacrificing the Karkline Ironworks? Right? So I think at this point Ben has, it looks like he has 4 mana in his mana pool. He does have cards like Engineer Explosives and Mox Opal in hand, so he can play those out.
E os caras olhando, tipo, pô, que bacana.
Generates enough mana, so
E aí,
that
a
he
gente
does
ganhou ou
put
não?
The Karkline Ironworks, you know, into a cycler, which then cycles him into another Karkline Ironworks. He has a mana to cast everything.
Pode sacrificar o cacete.
Saying
E
exactly what you're saying, Paul.
manas e trazendo tudo de volta. Tentar achar outro cacete. Ou o Mirzinho que traz.
This is one of those moments. I mean, this is so big. Ben even has an interesting choice of whether or not he wants to sacrifice Scrap Trawler or the Kirkland Ironworks.
Yeah, he is certainly not guaranteed to win from this point. He is in the middle of trying to go off, but can't get any momentum as far as cards go. Plenty of mana available.
Fazer outra Mox, fazer isso, dele vai ficar com o máximo de mana possível. Viu o sacrificado, né? Tudo e viu o que ele acha.
So his plan is to now sack the Scrap Trawler to get back a Mind Stone. Wait, is it not better to get the 1 mana one if he's looking to just cycle? Yeah, okay.
Yes, and he also figured that out.
All right, we got a cycle here. He needs to find action.
Aí draw, ele achou.
What is it?
Pedrinha de mana. Só que daqui ele tem que infiltrar.
Another draw. What is it? Ancient Sturdy. Oh, it's a
E land.
I think that's game.
E abraço.
They can't win, and that is going to do it.
Tentou. Se debateu muito.
While we were engrossed in this game, Alan
O da hora que eles fazendo tudo isso, enquanto isso o do Legacy, o Alien Wu já tinha ganho também, então fica pra essa vitória pra ele na 11ª rodada nesse Comentando Jogos Clássicos especial do Pro Tour 25 anos. Tá? A gente se vê na próxima rodada.